Duarte, Darrell, great to be here. We've just finished our B2B session on Telco to Techco and unlocking growth. A great impact session, generously supported by Red Hat and McKinsey. Let's just try and summarize, what do we take away from this session? This is a big issue to try and grapple with, how we unlock growth. Duarte, let me start with you. What were the takeaways?
Well, I think it's, in one sentence, I think the challenge is move from a telco to a techco. And I think that's basically, in the essence, what is driving the complication to and all these issues we've been facing in really to capture the B2B opportunity. But I think also within this, what I learned, and I think it's interesting enough, although there is a lot of things we need to transform on the tech side, usually what is more difficult and hard is to change the culture, change the way people work together, a bit the mindset to basically be faster and to be more innovative and really make this transformation. So I think that's very interesting, because when we speak with people that are probably one step further in this transformation, it's what they've been telling us is not the tech part is the easiest one. It's complex but easy, which is a bit of a paradox. And then what is really hard is the change of the organization and the people and the mindsets of doing this.
Now, Darrell, I'm sure you wouldn't say the tech was easy, but how do you see it from your perspective?
I actually kind of agree. It's not. I wouldn't add an awful lot to what Duarte was just saying. I think one of the individuals actually pointed at the chart. This is the secret. It was the people, the process, and how quickly they can actually focus on that. The second thing I really learned, coming back to what I learned in the session, which was really exciting for me, is the CIOs are becoming more like chief revenue officers. You know, they're there to support some of the sellers in their organizations as they try and realize some of these new enterprise opportunities for the business.
And that's really a big evolution from the CIOs of old cost center management, often just in dealing with internal orders and internal requests. So what does that mean for a CIO to make that lift? And are they really an integral part of B2B growth, Duarte?
No, absolutely. I think there will be no growth in B2B if CIOs are not involved. And I think we can even question if it's just the role of a CIO. I think more and more it's a combination of CIO with some product elements and the network. We also discussed this. And then when you need to build the offering for B2B, as we discussed, I think is much more centered in solutions and trying to understand what are the needs and the solutions for customers and not on each product. And so far, I think that's been a bit the challenge. So when business people talk to CIOs, they ask for a product, they expect them to work like a factory. And more what we learn is that the CIOs need to become this person that helps to bring together all these different capabilities. And therefore, they need to start talking to clients. And we heard that a few of them are doing it, and they were surprised why others are not doing it. And I think this will be a game changer in the industry.
And that often the customer CIO is much happier talking to a fellow CIO. They can really get into the technology and the discussion and relate to the challenges each other has. Darrell?
Absolutely. I think the interesting thing about this space is that there are thousands of opportunities in terms of solutions. And that is both an opportunity and a problem because telecommunications companies in their own right, and I've worked for a couple, need to do things in mass. You know, they're not very good at doing one solution for one customer, having a snowflake over here. So having a CIO actually manage that and help them focus on where they can land maximum value and scale, I think is going to be the thing to differentiate who's going to be more successful than others.
Now we're at the TM Forum. It's all about collaboration. There's a lot of talk in the session about the need for the industry to work together, the fact that competing with each other is just a downward spiral. What did you take away in terms of areas for greater collaboration?
I think we spoke around everything that can be done to have a more specific deep dive on the APIs parts on the ODA program for B2B. I think this is clearly an area of collaboration. In my perspective, I think in order to be successful there, probably when we build this ODA part, we probably need to bring other service providers and other companies into this ecosystem. I think the forum has been doing a great job in attracting a number of companies now, like all the hyperscalers are now working here and are collaborating. But I think there are others that will need to come. I'm thinking about like the Ciscos, like the Junipers and Jaspers, all these companies and providing all these platforms, a lot of the IoT providers. I think we are still missing a bit that. So when we really want to build this ODA that will become across, we'll have to be able to integrate other areas than just the ones we've been talking. So I think it's also a challenge for the forum, but I'm sure, Nik, you are going to accept it, and I think you'll try to bring it on board.
Gladly. And Darrell, collaboration for you, how important?
Well, as you know, I work for an open source company, so everything we have to do is in collaboration, and the power of it is in the ecosystem. So bringing those different separate businesses together in order to deliver the right solution to the customer at the right time in a collaborative manner. I think in the session, one of the individuals spoke about, we can't charge for the API. That's something we can't do. And we need to make that freely available so we can actually expose elements of our network and our infrastructure so other people can innovate. And I was very encouraged by that, actually, because 3 or 4 years ago, they weren't thinking in quite those terms. But when they do that, innovation always sits out there. And if we can bring that ecosystem together, and TM Forum's doing, as you said, a great job of trying to bring that together, I think that's going to be a very catalyst in terms of opportunity and growth.
Yeah, but I think the closing thought from the group was we've got to move quickly, that we've been talking about this for too long. This concept of an intellectual chasm between a lot of ideas, but executing them, and that's where collaboration is going to be key. So with that, thank you very much for being part of the session. It's been really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.